Hey there, everyone. I hope you are all doing good. Today, I'm going to talk to you about System 80 and mostly the 810 and 860 together with ALM Busy Circuit's absolutely cult module PAM Pro Workout. This is my live mini system that I bring when I play as Repeat Eater. I like to call it the Infinite Acid Box because I find that even alone, without the live setup, which consists of the Clockface, which is a TB303 clone, which is giving the melody that is being played again by this voice. At home, I like to use it like this. The 880 or a drum machine, giving the tempo to PAM, and sequencing actually things from PAM's Pro. I got actually this module in a trade because I wanted to try it. If you follow the channel, you might see that I'm not that much of a screen module person. I like analog things. But sometimes you want an insane amount of control inside a small footprint. And I've heard a lot of good things about PAM in that regard. Just a bit of history, PAM's workout is some sort of a series of modules. The first one was basically a clock, divider and multiplier and generator. BPM based but syncable, and you could only output gates and triggers from it. Then came PAM new workout, which could output envelopes and modulations. And this Pro one is just even more powerful with a better screen. It's the screen that sold me up on this one that made me want to try it because it was much clearer and probably much easier to use on stage. Okay, so let's hear the thing. What you are hearing right now is a beat from the 880, and everything is the 810 being sequenced by PAM. What I really like to do is to jam on this kind of thing. You might think that all these outputs are completely overkill, the 8 output of PAMs for such a small system. But actually what I like to do with it, and that I use live as well, is to program each output for one specific purpose, and then basically just patch and repatch. For example, here I've made 4 quantized random things that are all being played by the mid conga here that's sending a trigger, which is also the thing. If you look at it, this is going to CV input 1. And the very first output of the PAM is actually an envelope triggered by this same trigger. Which makes it very easy to change the sequence. This is good. If I want to change the envelope length, I'm traveling to output 1. This is the envelope shape, the exponential decay envelope. And width is the length of it. Right now it is sent to control both the VCA and the filter cutoff. I like to reverse it directly on the filter because it has an attenuverter. When I play live, I actually leave Pam on this screen, and so I can tweak it whenever I want. All the other outputs are preset, like right now. Let's check the third sequence. I really like to have a stepped random voltage that I can patch wherever I want. Right now, to the cutoff frequency as well on the other input. This is without the envelope, but only the stepped voltage. For this kind of classic A-fix style steppy filter thing. You might also wonder, why the hell do I have two filters in such a small footprint? It's because it's actually great to have one voice where you can send the oscillator output to a second filter and take advantage of the fact that this VCA has 3 audio inputs. So I can bring in a high-pass version of the signal before the VCA and blend it in and send any modulation that I would like on it, which is actually the step modulation as well right now. So you can have those sort of vowely sounds. Using the bandpass is even better for this. I could take the output of the filter to put them in series. For the moment where I want, like right now, a variable width bandpass filter. Most of the time, I like to use the oscillator straight and hear my second filter output. It's normal over there. You can go as very subtle as you'd like here. Already hardcore. Using slow modulation, like I have preset on output 4, does give it some sort of phasery-like sound. The length of the envelope is key to this kind of pattern. Let's go for the 8 output. This sounds so good. I like to use the pulse out as well, and usually modulate it with one of the fast cycling output, which is number 2 here. For that almost vibrato kind of sound. This is good. Just a little bit of high pass in the mix does thicken it just a little bit. Just a bit of bandpass does give occasional resonance that sounds a bit like vowels. Even more if it gets the random voltages. As I said before, the 4 here are pitch sequences that I have worked on, that I have saved. But if I want to keep sort of keep them, but change them, let me go to output 8, which is the sequence that we are hearing right now. There is that reset thing. If you reset all, it will basically reset the whole setup. But you can reset seed. And this will change the voltages that are filling the loop. And then we have a new melody. I really find that those two sound awesome. Also great to have the possibility to just have the bandpass. Sometimes during the set I don't even use the full voice at all. It's so fun to be just like this. This was the fun part, explaining the thing. Now I will show you exactly how this works. So first, syncing the thing. I'm sending run to run on Pam and clock to clock. You might need to check your MIDI to CV converter if you're using a drum machine with CV or your computer, just to make sure it outputs 24 QQPN, something like this, quarter pulse per note, the DIN sync standard. This is what PAM is basically asking for. We see that things start here. First, the envelope. As I said, it is trigger 1 that I use in CV1. So if I go to output number 1, I can see that I've selected trigger, which is the modifier type. Usually you will be at a sort of speed, which is a division or multiplication of the main clock. But if you go to the far right, you will find more modifiers. And the one I use is trigger. Trigger CV1. We see that this is activated whenever my mid-conga, which is trigger 1, is activated. Excellent! I'm going to patch this to both the VCA and the filter. VCA first because we want to hear something. And then to the filter. So I can scale and invert it. Now, if I want to make some of those random type sequence that I had before, let me show you how to do it from scratch. Oops. Sometimes I stop Pam by mistake by pressing that button. This is one of the few annoying things that I have with it. Only a few. So I'm on output number 5, which is the one that I use for the melody. I'm going to reset it first. So now we are back with what should be just a gate at the same BPM. So what I want for this to work as I did before is to select the random waveform, random. If I patch this directly to the pitch of my oscillator, I have a very annoying, weird thing. What I want is for a new... Well, first, I want notes, so the first thing that I will do is to quantize it. This is the scale that I was using before, natural minor. This is already better. Then setting the level, we decide the range of notes. So as this is outputting from 0 to 5 volt, we have 5 octave range right now. Let's stay in the bass register with a 35%, 37. This is a bit better. If I want the note to change more often, because sometimes I have the same a few times, I should speed up that random. But now this is a mess. So I want to go to cross up. Sample and hold. Well, actually, I was about to select the trigger in, the CV1 in, but it does work with output 1, it seems. Does work better when you select the CV. Okay, so now every time my trigger out is sent to Pam, I have an envelope and a new held random value that's being quantized. So I have a melody, but it does change all the time. This is why they made this loop function. So now we can have loops. Of a certain number of steps. Let's put the drum back in for context. As I said before, if you want to change what was feeding that, you go reset the seed and you have a new melody. many things you can change from this. You can add probability. So it won't update all the time. Which is pretty weird, but you can then turn your sequence into an Euclidean pattern, which can do some pretty fun things. So these are just other that I've made. With level, you can scale, as I said, you can also offset. So it will start on a different note on the scale. This one has also some loop nap to deactivate the loop sometimes, which is why at some point it does play only that fundamental and then start again. You see here we have 3 loops that are active and 1 that is not active. You have a 12-beat sequence. This is how it works. Sometimes I use the CV values of the quantized note just as stepped voltages that are triggered by the triggers as well. They are attenuated because I have set the output to be lower than 100, but it makes them very easy to dial in very precisely, which is a good bonus. By using the initial gain on the VCA, I can also have things to play all the time and just using the envelope as accent, which I sometimes do as well in live. Endless acid, as I said. Infinite acid. Infinite analog style acid. Pam Pro 810, 860, 880 for the drums. Endless acid. An important trick for those who really like random, as myself, would be to use any of the step voltage back on CV2, which is what I do live actually. So you can control that decay time via CV. So here is the minimum, and then the attenuation of the modulation. I usually use it just a tiny bit and then play with the offset, but it's quite fun on a more loopy patch like this that you don't necessarily want to tweak all the time. Endless acid. Okay, this is the end of this Endless Acid video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful. You should check the video I did about my live set if you want more details on how exactly I use this setup here. Yeah, this was sort of the studio version and some sort of appreciation of the sounds of all these modules. That is so good. Bye bye everyone. I will make some samples out of this for my Patreon subscribers as always. I hope you had fun. Consider supporting on Patreon and or buy some gears from the affiliate links below if you want to support the channel. See you next time. Bye bye.